depends on employer generosity and market demand for your skill set. This doesn't imply cynicism, it implies strategic recalibration. The generational gap often centers on timing. Previous generations entered housing markets before rapid appreciation. They accumulated equity passively. That equity became collateral for further investment. Timing is not merit, but it influences trajectory. Recognizing that prevents internalizing systemic differences as personal failure. Inflation adds silent pressure. Even moderate inflation erodes purchasing power. If wages rise slowly while essentials climb quickly, real income stagnates. The cost of childcare, education, healthcare, and housing compresses disposable income. Budget discipline helps, but cannot neutralize structural price acceleration. So what changes now? Strategy. Linear career progression once provided sufficient stability. Today, income diversification becomes more relevant. Skill stacking, combining complementary abilities, creates leverage. Geographic flexibility matters. Remote work reduces dependence on high-cost metros. Investing early, even small amounts, captures compounding that salary alone cannot. Entrepreneurship, once capital-intensive, now has lower barriers. Digital platforms reduce startup costs. Distribution is accessible. Information asymmetry shrinks. This doesn't mean success is guaranteed. It means entry is possible. Ownership, even fractional, becomes strategic. But adaptation requires mindset shift. Stop measuring progress against outdated benchmarks. Stop comparing your timeline to one shaped by different economic conditions. Compare within current realities. That shift reduces resentment and increases agency. Let's address a difficult truth. Resentment feels justified, but rarely produces leverage. Clarity does. Understanding structural dynamics allows tactical decisions. Should you prioritize liquidity or leverage? Geographic arbitrage or career specialization? Entrepreneurship or corporate equity participation? These are modern questions. Consider investing psychology. Volatility intimidates new investors, yet long-term participation historically rewards patience. If asset inflation benefits owners, the solution isn't avoidance, it's entry. Index funds, retirement accounts, equity grants, these mechanisms democratize ownership. Imperfect, yes, but accessible. Another hidden variable, demographics. Large generational cohorts entering peak earning years. Influence demand patterns. When population growth slows, economic expansion shifts. Aging populations pressure social systems. Tax structures adapt. Understanding demographic trends informs long-term strategy. Technology will continue reshaping labor. Artificial intelligence automates cognitive tasks once considered secure. Continuous learning becomes non-negotiable. The degree is no longer a finish line. It's a starting credential. Adaptability outpaces static expertise. Now the climax. You were not wrong to follow the advice given. It was rational within its context. But context evolved. The danger lies not in past decisions, but in refusing to update strategy. The system rewards alignment with present incentives. If ownership compounds, seek ownership. If skills depreciate quickly, update them. If geography inflates costs, reconsider location. If income stagnates, diversify streams. This is not about hustle culture or blame. It's about structural literacy. Financial literacy without systemic awareness is incomplete. You need both micro-discipline and macro-understanding. Imagine two individuals with identical discipline. One enters a housing market in 1995, the other in 2025. Their effort may be equal. Their outcomes differ. Recognizing that difference prevents self-doubt from morphing into paralysis. And here's where power returns. While structural forces shape probabilities, they do not eliminate agency. They redefine leverage points. You cannot control central bank policy, but you can control asset allocation. You cannot control zoning laws, but you can control geographic flexibility. You cannot control global competition, but you can control skill differentiation. Ask yourself, are you optimizing for stability in a system that rewards agility? Are you clinging to a single income stream in a multi-channel economy? Are you delaying investment waiting for certainty that never arrives? The narrative that everything is broken is incomplete. The narrative that nothing changed is inaccurate. The truth sits between. Systems evolve, winners adapt, not through blind optimism, but through informed recalibration. If you felt behind, consider this. Behind compared to what? A prior era? A curated social media highlight reel? A timeline designed under different macroeconomic assumptions? Redefining benchmarks liberates momentum, and momentum matters. Compounding applies not only to money, but to knowledge, networks, and skills. Small strategic shifts accumulate. Early discomfort yields long-term asymmetry. We stand at an inflection point where information is abundant, but clarity is scarce. Those who interpret systems effectively position themselves ahead of surface narratives. You don't need to predict the future perfectly. You need to align with incentives. Let's bring it back to you. If you did everything right according to yesterday's playbook, you demonstrated discipline. That discipline remains valuable. Now pair it with updated strategy. Seek equity exposure. Invest in adaptable skills, build optionality, reduce fixed cost burdens where possible, leverage technology instead of fearing it, and most importantly, release the shame. Structural shifts are not personal verdicts. They are environmental variables. Once acknowledged, they become navigable. If this resonates, I want to hear from you. Where do you feel the shift most? Housing, education, healthcare, wages? What do you believe changed first? Comment below. Let's compare patterns and map the reality together. If you value deep system-level analysis without illusions or shortcuts, subscribe now. This channel is about clarity over comfort. And if this reframed your perspective even slightly, leave a like. It signals that conversations like this matter, because understanding the system doesn't guarantee victory, but misunderstanding it guarantees frustration. And clarity is the first form of leverage.